Hi, my name is Arjun and welcome to ENERGIZE, the tech revolution. Today we have a very special guest amongst us. Elia MAFTOUM boasts a progressive background in digital technologies, transformation, asset and information management, and cross-functional team leadership. With a proven track record across diverse sectors, Eli has effectively managed multi-million-dollar operations, provided strategic guidance, and consistently exceeded corporate objectives. His vision is to digitalize day-to-day operations and reinvent the future of industries in the digital age. His hands-on experience and technical background grants him a deep understanding of various industries, enabling him to find solutions and demystify high-tech for the end users. His unwavering commitment to continuous improvement positions him as a forward-thinking professional in the ever-evolving landscape of technology and business. Eli holds a Bachelor in Science in Aerospace Engineering, as well as several certifications including PMP, Certificate in Digital Transformation from MIT, and a Certificate in Artificial Intelligence and Machine Learning from Harvard. Welcome to the show, Eli.
Thank you for the kind words, Arjun.
Absolutely.
I'm very happy to be here. Thank you for hosting me.
Absolutely, Eli. So, Eli, your professional journey is fascinating. You started off as a design engineer, then moved into project management, and now program management and technology. Could you share more about your professional journey? What industries have you worked in, and what specifically excites you about technology?
Sure. So I started my career in engineering design, and I enjoyed creating products. It's rewarding. I enjoy creating things and then seeing them in real life. So I worked in the tooling industry first, and then I worked in the auto industry. And for example, in the auto industry, you design something, you see it on the car a few years later. It's really nice. Like you walk around the parking lot in a dealer, and you're like, oh, I designed this, I designed that. It's really nice. Um, and then, things evolved. I did some work in construction. I worked in heavy equipment design and manufacturing. And then, like throughout all my career, I found that tech was always a key to make things better. So, for example, it makes things better, faster, and more efficient. So, for example, like if you have a 3D modeling software, it's much better than back in the days where we used to do the blueprints, sketch it by hand and whatever. So, this is technology. And, in every position I held throughout different companies, I always was able to implement a new software or find a more efficient way, like a process to do things better. So it was always technology. I guess I was naturally pivoting towards tech from the early days, and I didn't know it. And then when I joined Bentley, it was a very good fit because I understood tech and what it could do for the client. And then I have a deep understanding of the client's business. And when we put the two together, you have a very successful project. Like I could explain to the client what the Bentley solutions can do. And then I would go to the consultants that I work with and say, hey, this is their issue. I know we agreed in the scope on something, but they have more problems. Maybe we could fix it also for them. I understand exactly the nature of their business. So that helped a lot.
That's amazing to hear, Ali. Thank you so much for sharing that. So, in terms of your current role of a program manager in Bentley Systems, can you share more about the programs that you're leading and initiating in Bentley Systems?
Absolutely. So at Bentley, I manage projects ranging from oil and gas to nuclear to transportation to utilities. So we have a group of subject matter experts spread all over the world. And then depending on the project and the location that I have, I select a team and we start doing implementation. So some projects are upgrades for something that already exists. And some projects are a new implementation, I don't know if it's a new facility or we're replacing a competitor, etc. So this is typically what we do.
Thank you so much for sharing that. Now, for the benefit of our viewers, could you describe the distinction between the role of a program manager and a product manager in a tech company like Bentley Systems, and what is the level of collaboration?
Sure. So the product manager manages the product or a group of products. Okay. So the product is basically in this situation, the software or the solution we're installing for the client. So it could be For example, Windows that we use on our computers every day is a product. Okay, so the product manager manages the updates for the products. They fix the bugs, the issues. They collect feedback from the users. They make it more user friendly if they do surveys, and sometimes the users suggest some stuff. Sometimes they create new features. So this is a product itself, and they don't like the only interaction with the client is only to get feedback, but they just focus on the product and how to make it better and fix it and debug it, etc. Whereas the program manager, like myself, gonna lead a team of professionals and subject matter experts to install and implement these products for a client. So like a program manager will oversee several projects, and then for big corporations like BP, you're gonna have locations all over the world, and they will have different projects with different project manager, and you need a program manager to overview this whole operation, with Bentley, like, look at the timing, the schedule, the budgets, any issues, etc. So it's very different roles, but they work hand in hand very closely.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Now, let's dive deep into, the core products of Bentley Systems, that being digital twins. Could you describe what exactly is a digital twin? What type of challenges and pain points it is addressing in the industries that you worked in, and, what stakeholders do you interact with while building the digital twin?
Sure. So I want to first say that the digital twin is one of the core products. We have several ones. And different companies, have a different definition of what the digital twin is. I'll focus on the Bentley definition of the digital twin. So the digital twin is a replica of what you have in real life. That's why they call it a twin. So if you have a building, you're gonna have the same building on your machine, looking at it in a 3D model. There's different technologies to scan a building. Like, for example, there's something they call a LiDAR, not radar, LiDAR. It will go and scan like a big area and create a mesh, and that you will have your buildings, the locations, and everything else. Sometimes they do it with a drone, sometimes handheld hand equipment. It really varies. The end point is, like, what we want to do is create a 3D model of what you have on the ground with GPS coordinates and all the details on your computer screen. Now, why do we want to do that? This is the big question. So the big question is, you want to have a digital twin so you are aware all the time or where everything is at. And if something happens, let's say on the ground, it's copied into the 3D model. If you create, let's say you build an extension to your building, you're going to design it in 3D and then build it in real life. So you always have a copy of it. Now, the advantage is it will help you fix issues. It will help you avoid downtime. It will help you increase your efficiency. And all the information about your facility, your building, the platform, whatever it is that we created a digital twin of, all the information is present in one place, and is offering a single source of truth. So basically, the leader, the CEO, the directors, anybody that needs to make a decision, they base it based on facts, like on data that they have, not an intuition or an assumption, because everything is there in front of them and they can see what's going on, like they have access to that data and that information. So, for example, one of the things we did is we set up a digital twin for Shell at the Gulf of Mexico deep water facility, and they've seen great improvements for it. So already, like when they installed it, and it's gonna take time, over on a long run to kind of like show the advantages of installing a digital twin. So when you do that, there's a lot of challenges. Like, you have to. The most important thing is people. People have to have the mindset of how they're working. Now you're working with a digital twin. It's different, if different than what you used to work with before. Change is a big challenge that we face all the time. So we work between our subject matter experts and their subject matter experts to make it happen. We lay out a plan. We have like an architectural plan for them, how and what we're gonna do at what time, and we just implement it. That's what we do.
Oh, thank you so much for sharing that. Just curious, what is the involvement of artificial intelligence in digital twins?
Uh, Digital twins, we have artificial intelligence inside of it, because with digital twins you're going to create data, and artificial intelligence is based on data. It lives from data. When you have data, you can create artificial intelligence. So every client is different, and because of that, like, there's no, how can I say, one out of the box solution for artificial intelligence, but we try to integrate it as much as possible. But artificial intelligence is still in the early ages. There's different forms of it, and it depends on what you want to do with it and the corporate regulations. So some companies want it, some companies don't want it, but we implement it at a certain extent. And because now we are collecting data, the client in the future can do whatever they want with that data for an AI model.
I see. I see. Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing that. Now, once this product has been shipped to the customer or the client, what are the steps that the customer needs to take to continuously update and maintain this model? Would you share more on that?
Uh, like, you have to do maintenance on the product all the time. How can I say? It's a living document. It's like a living document that keeps changing. So you're constantly feeding data, you're constantly retrieving data. There's no how can I say, time where it's not changing. So number one, there's so many different software or solution connected to create the digital twin. At some point in time, one of them needs to be updated, or they're not talking to each other, or your company installed a new system. So there's always changes, updates, maintenance, stuff like that. And there's always ways to do things better. There's always room for improvement. That's why it's constant. It never stops. It's not like a one-time thing where you install digital twin and you're done for life. No, you don't put AI and you're done. No, it's constant improvement. So it never stops.
But that's great to hear, and thank you so much for sharing that. Now, looking at the future in innovation trends in the energy sector, could you shed some light on that of where do you see the innovations heading in the energy sector?
Like, I believe that AI is going to play a very, very big role in energy. But before we talk about AI, I just want to make a very important point. AI will not take jobs away. It will let us do more with what we have. The time that we have, we're gonna produce a lot more. In the 8 hours of work we go to the office every day, we're gonna produce a lot more with AI. It will assist us in finding ways for becoming more efficient and more productive and more profitable. So your AI model is gonna run analytics, for example, and give you data, or ring, sound an alarm for something, telling you, hey, something is off. This pump's gonna fail, or we're over budget, or it depends on how you set it up. The algorithm for it is going to be depending on your company and your need. The most important thing in it is to collect data. So if we set up a system, a foundation for AI by creating, like an asset lifecycle information management system and collecting data from our reliability software, then you start collecting data, you do analytics, you can go to digital twin, or you can create AI models from all this data after you clean it.
Oh, thank you so much. Now, shifting our conversation towards, a learning and career standpoint of view, you recently had the opportunity to take an artificial intelligence course in Harvard University. Could you share more about how long was the course? What was the course about? How was the experience? And what was your biggest key takeaway from the course?
Absolutely. So the course at Harvard was a few days on site. It was outstanding. You're in a classroom with professionals from all over the world, hungry to learn about AI and how they can apply it. Everybody's coming up with ideas. You have a lot of really important people sitting with you in the room, all talking about the same topic, bouncing off ideas, explaining how they could use it in their industry versus other industries and things like that. I was lucky to have the course with Professor Esposito. He is outstanding, and like, he is one of the top leaders in AI. And I recommend anyone that has the chance to take the class, go for it. Like, it's gonna change the way you think about AI and life and business. Now, I just want to mention one thing. The course is about business, AI and machine learning in business. It doesn't teach you how to write an algorithm or any of that. That stuff is done at MIT. But this course is going to teach you the basics of AI, how to apply it in business, and key takeaways from it is how you can integrate it in your industry. And it teaches you how to think and learn and how to apply it in what you're doing. Because the word AI, everybody is always thinking, oh, just put in an AI model, it's going to do the work for us. No, they think there's going to be, you know, like a Robocop walking around and giving tickets to people. We're years from that. It's going to do what you program it to do, you know, and if you don't program it to do something, it's not going to do it. Now, some models will learn, but again, what are you feeding it? So this is the biggest thing. You got to learn about what you're feeding it, how to design it, how to use it safely, and you have to have a backup system because at first you're not going to be able to trust it, especially for certain decisions, you know, but it's there, it's exciting. And I think that we are living very exciting times because we are building that new phase, that new industry 4.0 where AI is going to be the main thing.
Well, thank you so much for sharing that, and very happy and glad that you got to go through this experience of doing this course. Um,
Thank you.
yeah, for sure. So now, from a career standpoint of view, you're such a successful, program leader in the tech sector, working in the energy sector. What advice would you have in terms of skill sets, in terms of attending certain conferences for an individual who wants to become a program leader in the energy tech sector?
We're gonna start by walking before we run, right? So definitely attend conferences. I like to speak at conferences and share my information. That's where we met, and you learn a lot from it. I got the chance to visit different conferences, whether they are in oil and gas or nuclear or whatever it is, because you can see how that technology or AI or digital transformation is done between different industries. So you start understanding how they all have a common denominator. Everybody want to be safer, everybody want to be faster, everybody want to be more efficient, they want less downtime. It's the same thing in all industries with just few tweaks. So I highly recommend you attend conferences, you listen to professionals on different topics. Definitely get your PMP certification, and most importantly, keep up with education throughout the years. We are living in a very fast pace times where you will fall behind if you do not keep learning. Like if you stop learning, you're gonna fall behind really fast. Like maybe 30 years ago, if you know, don't really go to school in your mid 40s or something, it's no big deal. But now you gotta keep learning, keep progressing. Otherwise, you're gonna be behind and you're gonna be, you know, not knowing what's going on around you. So technology is changing the way we do business. Technology is changing the way we do things around us. You know, between social media and everything we have, like technology is changing everything. I mean, back in the days, you call and there's a call center and somebody answers you. Now, most of the call centers are AI or whatever. It's changing. It's crazy.
Absolutely, I totally resonate with that, and thank you so much for that advice there. So that concludes the formal portion of our interview for today. We like to end our podcast with a fun segment called a rapid fire, where our viewers and listeners get to learn a little bit more about the personal side of our guests. So, so as part of this rapid fire, I'll be asking you three quick questions. So are you ready?
Sure, let's do it.
Great, great. So firstly, as this is a tech podcast, would love to hear what's your favorite app or a hardware product that you enjoy using?
Man, that's a difficult one. It depends. Okay, so you see now I'm remodeling my house and I'm using one of Bentley's software. It's called Open Building Designer. So I built a shed outside. I designed the whole shed with that software. It gave me how much material I want, the layout of it, everything. I designed the whole thing in 3D, and then I went and I built it. And I'm remodeling a bathroom, so I have the contractors coming in soon, and I designed the whole thing in 3D on that software. I picked the tiles, I put in the colors, the materials, and everything else. This is my favorite now for now, but you know, once this is done, it's gonna be something else.
Well, that's great to hear. Thank you. Secondly, what's a book that you've read that has a big impact on your life and why?
Good question. Back in the days, a while back, honestly, this is one of my favorite books. Maybe I got impressed with it. I was still a young engineer. It's an old book. It's called Made in Japan. The author is Akio Morita, and he talks about Sony, the company Sony, and how they made it big after World War II. He explained, it's very inspiring. He explains to you about the cultural differences between Japan and North America, the products, the manufacturing, the marketing, how to improve on the products, how to deliver high quality products, etc. The struggles they had to go through. At the time, it was very inspiring for me.
Thank you so much. And lastly, do you have any final words of wisdom, perhaps a short story or quote that you'd like to share with members of our audience?
Absolutely. I will tell you one thing. Think big, prove small, and scale fast. If you live by this, you'll be very successful. And this is exactly what we do in our digital transformations.
Uh, Very well said. So that concludes our rapid fire. So how can our viewers and listeners get in touch with you?
The best way is on LinkedIn. Honestly, I get a lot of phone calls or sometimes emails, on my personal email. The best way is reach out on LinkedIn, send a message. I check it on a daily basis, and it's much easier than calling or whatever. Sometimes we get a lot of scam calls and whatnot, but the best way is on LinkedIn.
Great, great. Well, thank you so much, for honoring my show with your presence. It's been an absolute honor having you here, and thank you so much for sharing your subject matter expertise.
Absolutely, anytime.
For sure. So from the team at Energize, wishing you and the entire digital team in Bentley Systems lots of growth and lots of success.
Thank you so much.
For sure.
Absolutely.
So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen, our episode for today. And remember, you're one product away from transformation. I'm Arjun Chaudhary.